Hey, this is Don, and I want to talk to you today about the Nikon Z50. Now there's a whole bunch of reviews out there about the Z50, so I'm not going to rehash all of that. I want to talk about one thing very specific. My hobby is wildlife photography, and my go-to system for the last several years has been this Nikkor 200 to 500 zoom, which I love, and I've used it with my D7100. For several years. So I decided though that I wanted to get the Nikon mirrorless camera, the Z50, for several reasons. One, I'm taking more video these days, and the D7100, trying to use that for video with this lens is, to say the least, pretty awkward. So I thought with the discounts around Black Friday and all for this camera that I'd take a chance at it. So I got the camera along with the two kit lenses, and I got the FTZ adapter, and so that's what I've got on here now is the Z50, the FTZ adapter, and my 200 to 500 lens. So how well does this work? Well, actually, I was very pleased with the autofocus performance. It's just as fast, if not faster, than with my D7100. And in terms of frame rate, this thing does 11 frames per second at the highest setting, which is more than double what I got on my D7100. So very, very pleased. The images are sharp, and so I'm happy I got this. There are some peculiarities, though, about this that if someone is contemplating using this lens with this camera, you might want to know about. First of all, when you're doing video, I had it in full-time autofocus mode, and every time the camera would go to sleep after I hadn't used it for a few minutes, when it came back up, it was in manual focus mode, and it did this repeatedly. And interestingly, when I'd notice it and I'd go to the I screen, the information screen, to change that, I'd change it, and lo and behold, it didn't change. So it turned out I needed to change it to, rather than from manual directly to full-time autofocus, I needed to change it from manual to continuous focus or single focus, and then change it to full-time focus for it to go back. So that's probably a firmware bug of some sort that Nikon will, I hope, hopefully address at some point. The other thing about it is I missed several shots due to the fact that when I pulled the camera up to take the photo, it took a good several seconds for it to wake up. I'm used to the D7100, like other DSLRs, just leave it on, time to shoot, pull it up, push the button, and away you go, no delay. But this camera, it's a mirrorless camera, it's powering that battery sucking screen, it goes to sleep. So one thing I've learned is either turn the sleep function off when you're out shooting, or set it to a longer timeout, or just, as soon as you reach for the camera, press the shutter button or press something to start the wake up process, so by the time it gets up to your eyes and you're ready to shoot it, it's ready to go. So the other thing about this is that I use the back focus feature. On my D7100, the way I've got it set up is I use the back focus button and continuous focus. Okay, I love that combination because what I can do is if I'm shooting continuously, I aim at the subject, I hold my finger on the back focus button and then press the shutter and let it rip. Or if I want to just take a picture of something that's still and recompose, and I aim at it with the back focus button push, take my finger off the back focus button, recompose, and press the shutter. I've gotten used to using that, and it's one of the reasons I love using the back focus button. It basically gives me the ability to use continuous focus or single focus all in one shot. The interesting thing with the Z50 is in continuous focus mode with the back and using the back button. So if you take your finger off the back button after it's locked on a target, you can't press the shutter. The shutter release will only activate once when your finger's on the button. Now this, I'm sure this is related to the fact I have it in release priority, but that's what I had I'm sorry, I had it in focus priority, not release priority, which is the same setting I used on the D7100, but it does behave differently, so I've had to make a few adjustments for that. So anyway, let's see, what else? Oh yeah, battery. Definitely recommend getting a second battery. As of today, in late December 2019, every place that sells Adorama, B&H, Amazon, all the places that sell the battery for the Z50, they're out of stock. Now, hopefully that's a temporary situation. They also say, well, you can charge it in camera, the battery. Well, yeah, but you got to buy a separate adapter to do that. That's not included. So anyway, my conclusion from this is that this combination works quite well. There's some little issues that I think Nikon can address with some future firmware updates. They're not showstoppers or more annoyances. As long as you're aware of them, you can compensate for them. So good combination. I'm glad I got it. That's all for today. Thank you, folks.